My friends, I hope every single one of you are doing amazing today. Welcome to a brand new video here on my YouTube channel Nemo TV, and I really hope that you enjoyed watching that commercial about this notebook that I put in the intro of this video, because this YouTube video is going to be all about the equipment, the setup, behind the scenes, and a brief breakdown of the timeline on Adobe Premiere Pro, so it gives you an idea how I actually made this video possible. So first of all, let's talk about the product that we are showcasing in this video. It's a notebook, it's a journal, but the difference is it's really a high-end production. It's a high-quality notebook that just by taking a look and just touching the cover of this notebook, you feel the texture, the quality that this notebook has been made of. The camera that I used was my Sony A7III, which is a full-frame camera. So I recently purchased this Laowa Probe Lens, which is a super macro lens. You want to get a super close-up shot. That's where you actually go and rent or get your hands on one of these probe lenses. The aperture size starts from 14, so it's really important to have proper lighting, and that's actually why they have embedded LED lights on the tip of this lens that you can just power it using a USB-C cable. And to get those final shots of the notebook actually rising up and spinning, I used the 28-75mm Sony lenses that comes with the Sony A7III. I also used a GVM slider, which is really useful and is really important when you want to get those dynamic shots using a probe lens, because the probe lens is really sensitive because it's a macro shot, it's super close up, so even a tiny bit of shake is going to be looking really bad in your final production. Something else that is one of the main ingredients of this video is going to be a turntable, either an electric one or a simple one that you can just rotate it using your hand. So for capturing the first shot of this video, we used the GVM slider and we mounted the probe lens on our Sony A7 III, and we assembled all of those on top of the GVM slider. You can either have an external monitor for having a better view of the shots, but that's something optional, and that's why actually I didn't mention that in the equipment list. For getting the next shot, I actually rotated the slider 90 degrees so it was perpendicular to my desk, and in this case I just wanted to get some shots of the top of the notebook while we are moving the camera using the probe lens towards the edge of the notebook. This type of movement represents, at least in my mind, like a spaceship that is flying in the space, which is like super dark and black all around it, and you just have the spaceship. So the next shot was actually similar to what we had in the first shot, where the slider was actually parallel to the desk. The movement was from right to left or left to right, and the only difference is the angle of the probe lens was a little bit pointing a little bit lower, which was possible by bringing my adjustable disc lower and capturing that note to self text, which was embedded within the cover of the notebook. Next up, we actually wanted the note to self text, which is on the cover of the notebook, be exposed, so first be out of focus and then come into focus as we get closer to the notebook. So again, the slider direction was perpendicular to the desk, and we slowly move the camera towards the notebook until the note to self text was in focus. Next shot is one of my favorites, because instead of moving the camera, I actually move the desk. However, in your case, you can slowly move the notebook up and down with your hand, or actually put the slider parallel to the desk and move it left to right while the notebook is actually laying on top of the surface. But in my case, I actually had the notebook like standing up on the desk, and I just pointed the probe lens inside the notebook, and we used the LED on the tip of the probe lens and the main source of light in here, and then I just use my adjustable desk to move it up and down a couple of times until we get this super cool looking close-up shots of the inside of the notebook. Next shot was actually a similar shot to what we had when moving the table up and down to get the inside of the notebook and the texture of the papers. However, I wanted to create something different and just bind them together, so I just laid down the notebook, put the slider parallel to the desk, and just moved the slider slowly left and right to get those cool looking shots of inside of the notebook. For the next shot, we actually didn't use the slider to create any type of movement. Instead of that, we put the notebook on top of the turntable, turned it on, and it was kind of tricky because this turntable is not that strong and powerful, so I needed to kind of put something under the notebook in order to make sure all of the weight is in the middle and the center of the turntable, because then it's gonna create some kind of weird shakes while it's spinning as the object on top of the turntable becomes heavier. So then we just captured some of the shots as you can see over here, and that was it for this shot. For getting the final shots, we just put the camera on a regular tripod and we used the same turntable. The goal was to create some shots of the notebook spinning in both angles. And the goal was to create this cool looking shots of the notebook actually rising up, floating in the air, spinning, and then we have our hero shot. And to actually give you an idea of how we created that final sequence, here I'm showing you guys how we put those two shots together. So as you can see, we have the first, when the book is spinning in this angle, we actually had to rotate it 90 degrees, and then we use a cross-fade transition. If I zoom in here, you can see that we have a cross-fade transition, and then it actually transfers to the next shot, which is when the notebook is spinning in this direction. Now, after we put them in the right direction, and we actually connected them together. So if you notice, these two frames actually match. So we are on this side of notebook, and the next starts on the same, and we make sure they overlap. Now it's time for actually using the masking and animating the mask. So if I go to the editing, you're going to be able to see how the masking works. So if I click on this, you see that we've actually done masking. And you can see frame by frame the mask has been animated using the keyframes over here to make sure we are only seeing the book. And then we did the exact same thing to the next one, so we made sure everything has been masked. And then in the final result, we applied the color grading to make sure the black matches the black. And then if I play this final shot, it's just the perfect thing that we use on the final hero shot that we have. If I double click on that and maximize, you see that we have a speed ramp. So if I play it, the speed ramp actually helps to not notice the change in frame. And that's gonna be it. So if I just go over the final shots, you see all the shots after each other. We have this one, our second shot, and then we have the third shot, and then we have the note to self close-up shot inside of the notebook, two variations. We have the turntable shot, and at the end we have our hero shot. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. If you had any question about the production of this video, equipment, setup, editing, let me know below in the comments. I'll do my best to answer your questions as soon as possible. If this was your first time watching my video, make sure to subscribe, turn on your bell notifications so you'll be updated whenever I post a new video on weekly basis. And if you found value in it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, not just for me, for the algorithm, so it understands that this was a useful video. Again, thank you so much for watching this video, and until the next one, mukhlas.